this event is intended for like people trying to get into tech. They are still not sure on what exactly the role they are looking for and it's fit for them, and also for people that might just be curious in regards to what these roles are about in tech and how are they being handled in the day-to-day. So very happy to have you all here today. Sorry, I thought someone said something. Perfect. So first, let's go through some housekeeping things. So we are using the Zoom webinar tool for this event, and I just want to make sure I go through a couple of things. So first, there is the chat function. So if you have anything that you want to share with the whole group, just please put it in the chat. There's also a Q&A function. So if you have any questions at any point, just please make sure to use the Q&A function for this, so we can be easily managing the questions and going through them and marking them as we follow through. We're gonna answer questions in the beginning. We'll have some questions prepared we're gonna go through, but then we're gonna go through to your questions, and also some of them are gonna be answered online, some of them are gonna be answered offline, but we'll try to go through as many as possible. So please just drop them in the Q&A function. Okay, we're also going to send some questions for you, just for curiosity, a quick poll. Okay, and that's it. Yes, this is working. Awesome. So a little bit of introduction in the beginning. I'm going to start with myself. Why am I here and talking to you? So I currently have the role of career coach at Codop. And basically, my role is to support Codop students in getting started in their journeys in tech and making that easy for them, right? So there are a lot of skills involved that are required in order to go through an interview for a tech role, not just technical. And I'm there to make sure they are completely ready to take on this new challenge. So yeah. As I said, I'm working currently with Codop, which is a tech school striving to increase diversity in tech that offers a series of bootcamps and workshops with the intention to give women, trans, and gender non-conforming people all the skills required for getting into tech, and also making sure that they stay there for the long run, right? Which is also very important to get to the next step. So we're also, as Codop, organize events like this to give space and to have awesome speakers like the one we have today to give you their input and their experience, so you are actually even more prepared and have also a space to ask questions and any curiosity that you might not have the space to ask in any other situations. So again, thank you all for joining. We're gonna start with a little bit of introduction on our speakers. So we have 3 roles today, 3 tech roles. We have an engineering manager, an iOS developer, and a product design manager. And I think they're gonna do a better job of introducing themselves than me. So we are gonna maybe Andrea, you can go ahead and just give us a little bit of information and who you are and like your role.
Okay. So yeah, hi everybody. I am Andrea. I am from Colombia. So I studied there electronic engineer, and then after finish university, I came to Spain, to Barcelona. I'm living here since 13 years ago. So the first job that I found here, I was looking for a job, and the destiny, I would say, decided by me, and I found a job as a quality engineer. So I was doing this for some years, and then I found out that I like to help people. So I moved into management. So I started as a QA manager, and more or less 3 years ago, I changed it a little bit to engineering manager. So this is more or less. If you have more questions, so I will be happy to answer them later.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, we'll go more in depth. And maybe Chitra, you can go next.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining the session. Really happy to be here. So I'm Chitra Kotwani. I'm basically from India, but I'm settled in London these days in United Kingdom. I'm an iOS developer working for Bumble, which is a dating app, and they own a few other dating apps. Yeah, I've been in the tech industry for about 10 years now, and I've held various positions like tech lead, solution architect, engineering manager. I'm back to iOS development now. So yeah, that's about me.
Okay, awesome. So you might be able to give inputs on multiple roles. That's pretty cool. Okay, and Adriano, please, if you can give us an intro in your experience.
Sure. Hi there. So my name is Adriano. I'm actually originally from Brazil, but I'm based in Barcelona now. I have been working with design for around 10 years, 11 years now. And I worked in different types of companies, information consultancy companies, big corporations of the flight industry. Now I'm in the event industry. And recently, well, not so much recently, like a few years ago already, I also jumped to the people management, people leadership role, in which then my goal is to create the conditions for the designers that are working in agile teams to do the best work.
Awesome. We all need help to do our best work, right? So thank you for that. Okay. So maybe we can go to our next question, which is like the next step. Maybe you can tell us a little bit on like how your day-to-day looks like. What do you do? Like what are your tasks and what kind of meetings are you handling? So a little bit more information. Adriano, maybe you can go first.
Yeah. I feel that the role of a product design manager is actually a mix between part of what a product manager do, that is thinking on the strategy, looking at their pods, the roadmap, the projects that are gonna come, and part of course, coaching and leading the quality of the design resources that we have within that team. From the product management side, and that's why I'm also one of the instructors at Codop, I would very often work with a PM to kind of look at what they are actually prioritizing, looking at that makes sense to the strategy that we're following the company, and kind of also understanding from their perspective what support design can bring. Should I bring more designers to that initiative? Should I actually invite different stakeholders to participate in this process? How do we make sure that we set the team up to success in the tasks that they needed to do? My day-to-day would be catching up first with my designers on a daily basis, looking at what they are doing on their teams, how is the plan of the week that we had are going. So if there is anything in between a week, a problem, or anything that raises a flag, I could actually reach to the proper stakeholders and get and make sure that I can get the path clean for them to work. And there's also the strategical part more at the company level, that it is bring that voice of the customer to the upper management of the company. So trying to get this balance about like no go so much to the business, and there's also a consumer experience that we need to take into account. So I also support the strategy of the company in that.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of work. Can you just please explain, like for the group, I don't know if everyone is aware, like with what the PM role is, what does it stand for, and what does it mean?
Yes, absolutely. So PM stands for product management and product manager, and it is the person that is actually leading the projects within an agile team. So what is expected that this product manager will do is actually making sure that we are actually producing or introducing the right features, fixes, or functionalities to the team, that they are well proper analyzed, and they are also proper fit in the roadmap according to their impact, either to the business or to the consumer. So I work alongside with them, helping to also find this balance, because business can be very pressured on PM on the product manager sometimes. So I try to also like relieve his pain of finding evidence of how we can also support consumer side in consumers' views and user views within that roadmap that they need to plan. And then also support things on a day-to-day, like we need to speed it up the delivery of that design. So we're gonna make sure that we do it. But that's my collaboration with them. I focus on helping that, and I, at the same time, also focus on supporting the designers with their design work.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. It's very helpful. Okay, so next, maybe Chitra, you can go next in describing how does your typical day looks like.
Yeah, so I'm an iOS developer, so lots of the time, like 80% of the time, I'm just developing, right? So for instance, the designers would come up with designs of the screen that we want, some buttons here and stuff there, and this should happen when you click this and that. So this is the kind of work that I do most of the time. Apart from that, obviously, we collaborate a lot with people like Andrea and Adriana, and we basically brainstorm together what kind of features to develop in the app to move some metrics in a favorable way. So we are constantly analyzing data. For instance, I am responsible for day one retention of people, that people come into Bumble app on first day, how many people come back on second day. So we kind of try to keep this percentage higher, isn't it? So we keep brainstorming with designers, product manager and analysts, and we come up with features that we want to develop, and then these features are then fleshed out by designers, and they come to us, we develop, we show them to designers what they want tweaked, and then we keep analyzing how it is doing when it has gone to real users. So yeah, I would say this is how it looks like. I also do a bit of project management, which is basically prioritizing. We have a few projects, so which one to do first, which one to do next, how many, that ensuring that all developers have something to work on, and everybody on the team is basically kept nicely busy, but not too busy, or they're getting time to do something that they're passionate about as well, and so on. So yeah, this is what my day-to-day looks like.
Okay, just a curiosity, like, can you give some tips on how do you manage these both roles, right? Like the project management and like you said, 80% fully developing constantly.
Yeah, I think when you're developing, you will notice that you have to wait a lot while things are building and compiling. Your computer is doing the work and you just wait, and in between you just answer some Slack messages or check out some Jira boards and, you know, organize stuff. So I think you have to constantly context switch a lot while you're developing. You're waiting for some results to come up, and then, you know, you have some time to answer and manage some things on the side.
Okay, so you make the best out of the time. You don't lose any minute. That sounds amazing.
Bumble is a very big app. It's 15 years of code, isn't it? So there's it takes some time to run.
Okay, awesome. Andrea, please, if you can share with us your day.
Sure. So I spend a lot of time on meetings. So most of them, or all of them, are worth it to have it. So we have meetings, team meetings, because we work with the Scrum in my current job in Preply. So we have a sprint planning, but for the ones that are not familiar, I can go more in deep, but we have the meetings for to plan the sprint, the demo, the retro. And also I have other meetings, the one-on-ones that I have with my team. Also catch up with other engineering managers, the one-on-one with my manager, that is the CTO of Preply. So more or less in general is the type of meetings that I have. So what I do every morning, what I try to do is I use Trello. This is a really nice tool. I am super fan of Trello. I don't have any any stock options there or something, but it's for me it's the tool that is working better. So I try to plan my day, at least to try to plan what I want to have done by the end of the day, and then some days I finish and I say, okay, well done. Some days happen that is I didn't finish what I wanted, because I have meetings that they were scheduled, or some other meetings like happened during the day that maybe happened yesterday, for instance, that we had an incident. So I was jumping, trying to help the developer, trying to know what is going on, trying to see like how I can help. So this time that I was in theory trying to dedicate to other things, so I had to jump and do other things. So one thing for this role is like you need to be totally okay with the distractions, interruptions, changing the focus all the time. You need to be okay with this. So this is just an advice for the ones that want to be managers. Is like, I think you really need to like to take care of the people. For me, this is most important for my role, it's my opinion, but also be totally okay that you are gonna change all the time. The focus, you are going to be interrupted. You have a plan that, okay, now I'm going to work. We are now working in the quarterly reviews. So I say, okay, now the next hour I'm going to be writing the performance review for one of the engineers. And then suddenly I have a message from someone that is asking something. Okay, then I need to jump and say, okay. So yeah, this is more or less what I do. I try to put deadlines. This is really important because like for the performance reviews, sometimes I am delaying this because it's like you need to focus like maybe 1 hour, 2 hours to do this. Then I try to put deadlines and say, okay, Andrea, by the end of Friday, you need to finish this. So this is more or less how I try to manage this.
Okay. A couple of follow-up questions. Like you mentioned at some point something about like an incident. Can you give like a short information on what an incident in a tech company means?
Yeah. So there are different incidents, but mainly is that the website or one part of the site is down. No, that to give you the example that happened yesterday is one page that we own because in Preply we are divided in different engineering teams. So one of the pages that we own was down because we deployed that change to production and this was down. So this triggered an incident. We have an incident flow, how to manage this, how we have a process, and is a really you know how to follow, what to do. So this is also an advice, like you need to have an incident flow. Like everybody knows, okay, when this happens, how I report an incident, and one is the things that I need to do. So yeah, basically what happened is the one of the pages was down.
Okay, thank you for sharing. I think that's important, like to know also from the perspective of the user that like every time there's something happening, there's a lot of people in the back trying to get things working and like making sure it gets back up fast. Okay. Yeah. So the next question would be, like you already mentioned some of them, but I would like you to like kind of summarize the most important skills that you think that are required for your role, technical or non-technical. Chitra, maybe you can go first this time.
Yeah, so I think more than anything else, time management is very important. Being able to prioritize tasks, because there are really unlimited tasks and tech is changing all the time. So you have to keep on learning new things almost all the time. So I think time management is really critical to you know, to earmark some time to learning more and to developing and so on. Also, there will be bugs all the time. And again, if there are incidents, you obviously want to prioritize it higher than something, say, some label has moved a little and doesn't look pretty. So this kind of decision making is also very important. Yes, that you also have to constantly keep learning. That is extremely important because literally every year we get new changes. So yeah, you have to be hungry to learn stuff. Teamwork is extremely important because everything is developed in collaboration with team. You're not doing anything single-handedly. Sometimes there could be conflicts as well, so you need to learn conflict resolution. Yeah, two developers might not agree what's the best way to implement something and so on. So you need to learn how to convince the other person, or how to just discuss pros and cons, leaving the emotions aside, right? These are what come to my mind, you know. Top, obviously, as a developer, you want to be good at logical thinking and so on, but I think this is something that can be easily learned as well. So yeah, attention to detail. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of skills, and I think it's really great that, like you mentioned, some of them. Adriano, I saw you nodding like in a lot of the answer that Chitra was mentioning. Maybe you can go next and just share your input in regards to what skills do you think are important.
Yeah, I was actually like agreeing with everything that she's saying. It is the same for me as well. I feel that like negotiation skills and storytelling, so soft skills. Actually, overall soft skills at the moment in my role are the most important right now, because it's all about like negotiation. It's all about like making sure that I can make a design being understandable by engineers, by the product leaders, by the rest of the organization, maybe someone that is working with finance that has no idea about user problems or design. So it's a lot about soft skills, communications, negotiations, understanding, coaching, especially if you focus a little bit on the people leader side and coaching growing designers. So you have to be there for any occasions, either that be personal or conflict at work, as Chitra was saying, or also like any other issue you might have within the day-to-day. And prior to that, and then covering more like what I would say product management, definitely analytical skills are so important, because you really need to look at the data and understand what it was saying, and above and beyond the numbers. I always say that the numbers can tell you whatever you wanted them to tell. So you have to have good analytical skills to extract actually like the real information you want to get. And the same also to actually challenge your peers in case they are prioritizing or they are pushing projects that you don't feel that it might fit the company purpose. So it's kind of analytical skills at the moment. Prior, when I started my career as a designer, then there was much more hard skills, I would say, as well, like really designing, sketching, and so on and so forth. But at the moment I am right now, like soft skill became much more important.
Okay, it's funny how, right, like how you develop in the role and in the tech industry, like you get more responsibilities and you realize like actually communication and soft skills are what makes tech work, right? In the end, like it's just what binds everything together. So I think that's very important to kind of notice how it evolves over time. Okay, Andrea, what is your opinion on this?
I totally agree with what they say, all the skills. I think that, yeah, this is that we share all of them. So focusing more in the management role, I will say that one thing that I already say that, but you need to really like to take care of the people, because I think this is the main skill. If you are like, so I think it's the difference when you are an individual contributor that you are in my case, I was a QA. So, I mean, it's not that you don't care about people, of course you care, but you care more about the quality, or if you are a developer, you care more about how is the code, is stable, is scalable, this is good. But when you are a manager, your focus is your team and is the people that you really want them to grow and help them, motivate them. So I think this is a key skill that you need to have. Empathy, of course, because you need to help the people to grow, you need to give feedback to them. So you need to have empathy. And maybe just to add another one, I think now that most of the world is full remote now, that before was mostly we were in the office. So communication also is a skill that is really needed now, especially the right one, where like right communication. No? Before we were talking, and it's easier when you have a conversation with someone, but now that everybody uses Slack, and so for the ones that you don't know, Slack is like a chat communication, is mainly using in most of the companies. So sometimes it's like you read a message and then you don't know the context or the tone, you don't have the emotions. So this is something like, since 1 year and a half when we started full remote, this is something that I am trying like to see, okay, to try to understand like the emotion, because it's not the same if I am explaining this now that you can see and then you can feel, okay, Andrea is happy, well, no, maybe she's sad, she doesn't like it. So yeah, I think
I like what you said in the beginning about the like having different roles, and like each role caring and taking care of different parts of the product and of the needs of the team, right? So I think the idea is like each role has their own focus, but putting all this together is what makes a team work and kind of be efficient, right? Yeah. So because at the end, like we need focus, right? We cannot do everything, even if we care about everything, but we have to kind of prioritize on what are we focusing on. So I think that's very important, as you mentioned there.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a funny one for you, a question. Like, what did you say? Like, it's an assumption that you heard about your role or tech in general, that like people believe it's true, but it's not. Andrea, maybe you can take this one first.
So no, I was thinking.
Okay, take your time. If
Okay.
someone has their, okay, you have it, go for it.
No, yeah, maybe I can share about like so they think that you are the whole day on meetings. So most of the time this is true, but this is at the end you are in meetings to do your work, no? Because it's like, okay, you just go to meetings, you listen things, and then it's like so yeah, I think this is an assumption that okay, the managers are just are just attending meetings, but my goal for all the meetings is like, okay, what is the goal of this? We are going to achieve something. I have one-on-ones with my team. Okay, this is like to build a relation that they are something that you can trust on me. I can trust on you. So yeah, I will take this one.
Okay, Chitra, what's yours?
I think when I tell people, oh, I'm an engineer, people go like, oh, you must be clever, or oh, that must be a really tough job. And I feel that that assumption is not true. It's really just hard work. I don't think I'm extraordinarily clever or anybody is. It's literally just toiling hard, learning and yeah, not giving up. Basically, sometimes it can be frustrating to be in tech as a developer, for instance. But it is for everybody, no matter where they work or no matter how many years of experience they have. There will always be some frustrating days, but you just have to, push hard. And it's not that somebody is more clever than others. So I would say, yeah, that's the assumption people make, which is funny.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Adriana.
Yeah, in my case, I think that very often people tend to think that design is actually painting pixels or painting just a nice user interface. And then a misconception about my role is that I would be actually looking at what they are designing rather than the user problems that they are solving. So very often I bumped into situations in which I have to explain the role of design within the industry goes far beyond just painting pixels. We are actually here to help you understand the user behavior, their thoughts, what do they need. We're here to go beyond the first request from Jira that we receive and actually understanding what is the problem behind, and also to try to figure out with tech what is the best way to solve that user experience. So sometimes there is this lack of knowledge, which is pretty common. Like you have to work on that when you are in a company, like how you build the future, the designing future within a company and provide that instructions about how designing can work. But that's how very often I've seen people thinking that my role was just like managing tasks for designers painting screens.
Okay, that brings me to my next question actually, which is like what you answered a little bit of is like, what is the part of your role that people don't see? Okay, so I guess there are a lot of assumptions. Sorry, like go.
Oh, sorry, go.
I was just trying to say like I think there's a lot of assumption in regards to like what the role is and what you should be doing. And I think also because like of those assumptions, a lot of people are staying away from tech, or like they believe, like Chitra was mentioning, that it's too hard, or like just for like, I don't know, smart people, which I think is just a matter of skills and you develop by putting hard work into it. So so yeah, if you have another one, please go, Adriana.
Yes, there is a whole part about maybe thinking ahead how we're gonna go as a team that goes beyond the work that happens on a day-to-day, and how you're actually gonna grow your team of designers, how you're gonna make sure that they are actually progressing in their careers, that you are capable of building their career paths, so you're actually capable of speaking with HR and create a path for retaining them in the company. There is a lot of work regarding how we as an organization, a local organization, grow. So for instance, I work for Eventbrite and we have an office here in Spain, right? So many of the meetings that we might have will be all about like how we grow as a team here globally, not only considering product design. So there is this upper management conversations about like where we can go with a company. That also happens a lot. And there's lots of bureaucracy, performance reviews, documentations, things you need to dig in, alignment and connecting the dots for people that people don't see that you do, but is the things that you do the most actually.
Bureaucracy is everywhere, right? We don't get rid of it, not even in tech.
Yeah.
Okay, which one would you say is the part of your role that people don't see, Andrea?
So I think it's all the preparation, like to put an example, like now with the performance reviews, is like, this is a lot of preparation, reading things. Like I have, this is just an advice. If you want to be a manager, I have a file for each one. So I put notes every day. Well, every day, every time that I see that this is worth it, because when you have to do the performance review after 3 months, you only remember the last week. So yeah, there are a lot of preparation from my side that, okay, when I go to the performance review, there are hours there that I was checking, trying to organize how I want to transmit the message. So this is just an example. Like all the work that you do, behind there are a lot of preparation and searching.
Okay, Chitra, what is the part of the developer role that people don't see?
I would say it's learning, because that's another reason why you need to learn to time manage, because there's so much learning to do that you have to find time between your work life and you're still learning as if you're in university. So I would say, yeah, we have to constantly keep on top of tech, try to learn different technologies which is constantly evolving, stay on top of it. I think that takes a lot of time as well. Mm-hmm.
Okay, some of you, even you mentioned now, Chitra, a lot of like time management and how to like estimate, and I guess part of time management, and it's one of the question we have from the audience. Anna is asking, like, if you can give some tips in regards to time management and like estimating tasks and how to basically plan for that would be cool if you have any input in regards to that.
Yeah, definitely. So you have basically endless list of things you want to do, you want to learn, and so on. So you basically just prioritize. So obviously there are different things, right? There's personal development, there is product related development and whatnot. So basically I tend to set myself goals for 6 months, which are on high level, that, you know, for instance, at the end of 6 months, I want to be good in this part of tech, or I want to improve something about, you know, the code that I'm working with, which is like a massive refactor or something. So I start working towards those big goals, like I have something set in that. And then there are also product related goals, and yeah, you get a rough idea after some experience. Obviously you need some experience to be able to estimate how long stuff takes. Yeah, and I'm still not always good at it, I would say. It generally overruns. It's a bit like building work, it always overruns the estimates. So yeah, so I would say for estimation you do need, you try to break the big task into small chunks, and then you try to estimate those small chunks, and then you add it, and you have the estimate of big thing, right? So it's a bit easier that way. And yeah, there are just goals. I just set myself some goals for week, half yearly, quarterly, or even weekly, daily. And then you try to keep on retrospectively looking at it, whether you are hitting your goals. If not, what's distracting you, what happened, why didn't it work, what can we improve the next time. So I think this is very important. So yeah, there's just constant prioritization going on, basically. Yeah, there will be always some fires to extinguish, like some live incidents and whatnot, or pandemic, let's say, schools closure. So there will be always things that will try to keep you off the track, but you just try to keep coming back, I guess.
I guess we're all trying our best with time management, and I guess it's just a process of learning, the same as anything else.
Yeah.
And I like what you said about like setting some goals and trying to kind of have that as a vision, but being aware that some things might always pop up, right? And it's a constant process of learning, also reflecting on what worked and adapting to that. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, and I also wanted to add about the assumption that people make, which is wrong. And I notice another question, is there an age limit? So people assume that you have to be really young to get into tech, but this is not true. On my team, I have certain 55-year-old developers. So I think that's not true at all. Yeah, there is no age limit at all. You just have to be good at the process of getting people, hiring people is very objective. We ask you questions. If you perform well, you are in it. We don't look at age.
That's really helpful. And yeah, there is a question. I think it's really helpful to reiterate that, right? That there is no age limit and it shouldn't be. So I don't know, Adriana or Andrea, if you have any inputs in regards to this or any other experience that you'd like to share in regards to like the age limit to get into tech.
From a design product perspective, I don't feel that there is also an age limit. Like in our team, currently we have people from all different ranges of ages. And it shouldn't be a problem at all. I feel that like the industry is becoming more inclusive each day. This is one of the missions of Codop as well. But I do feel that actually people that are maybe elder than the regular people you see in the companies every day can also bring lots of perspective that we miss because those people are not there. So I'm actually super open about having like a wide range of people within a company, and we don't have any issue about hiring or putting an age limit.
Okay. Andrea, do you have something to add?
Not really. I mean, I totally agree with the same. That is like, ideally, we would like to have people from a lot of diversity, not only woman, and it's more like diversity also in ages, in culture. So yeah, normally it's like you have more young people. This is true. That is mainly this because they are the ones that are maybe more interested on this, and also it's true that the developers that have, I don't know, 20 years of experience, they are not developers anymore. They are like moving to management or to other roles. But for me, the ideal scenario or the ideal team is like you have diversity in all the aspects. So, yeah.
I think that's an awesome point you made there about diversity, and Adriana mentioned a little bit before about like getting different perspectives, right? And things missing, getting information and questions that you wouldn't think of because like you are, either way we have our own like group and like we cycles that we go into. So I think it's very important to challenge ourselves, and what better way to have that than just like having diversity in all senses, as Andrea mentioned, right? So thank you for sharing that. And also like my 2 cents to this question, I think like I want to add here. So in working with Codop students in the day-to-day, like there's a lot of people coming from different backgrounds with different age and skills that are getting into tech in development or product management. So I've seen it done and people grow when like definitely I think all you need it's as Chitra was mentioning before is the love of learning, constant love of learning, and being open to kind of expose yourself out of your comfort zone, because it's just like it's just as any other industry. It's going to require skills and you're going to have to focus on building them. So yeah, I totally agree with all of you, and I don't think age should be an impediment for you to kind of try and chase this industry. Okay. Awesome. So coming back to time management, I just want to see like if Adriana or Andrea have some tips there, like from your experience as you are handling like different roles and different responsibilities, on how do you handle your time and all of these tasks.
Okay, I can go first. So, well, I already said about Trello that I am a little bit fan of Trello. So another tool that I use a lot is the calendar. So, well, the Google Calendar, but you can use what do you prefer? So yeah, what I try to do is also I put meetings for myself for the things that I want to, okay, if today I need to do this, and now I know that maybe I am distracted because of Slack messages or something like this. So it's like, okay, I put a meeting of 1 hour and I committed myself to say, okay, during this hour, I am going to work on this. So this is maybe a tip for someone else, and for sure use something, a to-do list or something, I use Trello. I am not here to sell it, but it's more like this helping me to know, okay, what are the things that I have pending, things that I am waiting, because in my role is more like, okay, I need to do this, but I am waiting for other team to give me a response on something, or I am waiting for this to be done, that they told me that it's gonna happen in 1 week or something. And then the things that I am doing, because also I like to do like retrospectives for myself every week to see, okay, I wanted to work like what Chitra said also before in the goals. No, it's like, okay, this week I wanted to work on this, so I had time to do this or not. So to do a little bit of retrospective for the week. So yeah, this is my suggestion.
Thank you. Adriana.
I'm also a huge Trello fan. I use it for everything, to be honest. Like my whole life goes centered in Trello. And what I did was actually automating everything. So I will actually share here in the chat one link. Chat. Okay, so for analysts and attendees, I actually started this year using this board from Trello that it's actually an article that talks about how you can automate tasks. So you have an email, you cannot reply right now. I just started, it goes to my inbox in Trello, and at the next day I can prioritize it. So every day in the morning, I go to Trello, I look at what things I have to do today, tomorrow, this week, and there are all the other ones that are just like packed. And I try to prioritize my day according to that. Not only all the time it works, but it helps. And then, of course, our role is all about meetings as well, right? So the issue is not the amount of meetings sometimes, is actually like you have them in time slots that are not actually very optimal. So you have one at 12:30, and then you have 30 minutes to work, and then you have another one at 1, for instance. So another thing that I started to experiment, and for me is working pretty well, is this that I'm also going to share here, is Clockwise. Clockwise is an extension for your Google Calendar that actually look at the meetings that you have that can be optimized. It will move a lot the meetings that you have in your calendar, like every day. People will get pissed sometimes, but it also free up time for you in your agenda to make sure that you have like hours that you could work with. At Eventbrite, we also have the no meeting blocks, which the whole company has at the same time, according to the time zone that they are. So they are also like focused on get things done at this time as well.
Having that like at the company level, I think it's pretty great, right? Because it's supporting you to kind of have that space to take time for yourself and kind of catch up with tasks. So I think having a process for that without having to feel bad, it's pretty cool. I think it's something to consider, kind of to give people support in their fighting with their calendars and work kind of thing.
Yeah, if I can add one more thing, it is
Please.
I feel that like lots of what we're learning with time management is actually to say no and to move things around sometimes, because you need to prioritize. And sometimes the way you do that is actually saying we're not going to be tackled that right now because that's not a priority, and I will free up this time to dedicate of something that is more important right now. So I also say no a lot. Not in a bad way, but in a way that actually like I can actually organize the work properly to make sure that me and the designers are actually deliver things on time.
Okay, that's a very interesting topic about saying no. I don't know if Chitra or Andrea, do you have a story for this, like your learning in regards to starting to say no? Because I guess as you develop in your role, that becomes a necessity.
Yeah, I think I should learn a bit more to do that. I think I take on too much. So yeah, that is certainly a very important skill. Yeah, I think today I learned something from Adriana. Yeah.
Awesome, that's why we're here. Andrea.
Yeah, same. I this is something that I am working on since some time ago. Because I want to say yes to everything. But as Adriano said, at some point you need to prioritize, and prioritize means to say no to a lot of things and to just to decide to what I am saying yes today. This is what I do with my priorities that I decide every day. No, it's like, okay, what my yes go today to the 2 or 3 things that I want to finish by the end of the day. So yeah.
Okay. Switching a little bit like the topic you already mentioned, like some of you gave some details in regards to the roles they're working with in the day-to-day, like the team and how like things get done, basically like something gets built and how many people are involved. But like if you, each and all of you can go a little bit more in detail on like what's the composition of your team and how do you work together, basically, like what kind of communication is required there. Sorry. Chitra, if you want to go first.
Yeah, so I think these days we have something called Spotify model, which is very popular because this model started in Spotify, where the entire cross-functional teams, by cross-functions, I mean different functions like development, product designing, product manager, QA, everyone gets split into smaller manageable chunks, right? So for instance, we are about 35 to 40 developers, iOS developers alone, but in a particular something called a pod, we are just 3 iOS developers, 3 Android developers, 1 product manager, 1 QA engineer, and 1 engineering manager, and so on. So, and then we work towards a goal. So for instance, I mentioned earlier, my work is day 0 experience and day 0 retention. So people come and register, they don't get stuck anywhere, it's smooth for them, it's not too much work for them. And so this is my goal. There will be another who work on safety of people who come to Bumble for dating. So they're working towards that goal. So I think this is how we are divided into teams. And yeah, you can always bring up a new team and working towards a different goal, or our goal can be changed. So I think this is how we work. So there are various functions together. And on top of it, I also work with other iOS developers a lot when it comes to maintaining the iOS code base. So what improvements we can make so that the developers can develop fast. For instance, as I said, it's 15 years of code, so building can take time. So what kind of optimizations can we do? Or how can we build screens fast? What can we do to do that? So this is also the kind of job, the teams that we work with. So there is iOS development team, and then there is this cross-function team which focuses on the product itself. So yeah, that's about me.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing. Like that's an interesting system that you have, right? Like this is the Spotify model. Okay, Andrea, what is your way of composing the teams?
So yeah, we use also the Spotify model. I think this is very trending for the ones that are new on this. I really recommend the videos that are really interesting and self-explanatory. So yeah, we also have chapters, tribes, and squads that are teams. And in the teams, so we have the engineering manager. The engineering manager also can manage maybe 1, 2 teams, 3 teams, depending of the size. And in each team, we have engineers, developers, that depending of the purpose of the team. For instance, in my team, I have 2 full stack developers, 1 backend developer and 1 front-end developer. This is the current composition. Also, in some of the teams, you can have a tech lead, also the product manager, the UX designer, UX research, data analyst, and I think, yeah, and copywriter, sorry. So this is more or less the composition that we have in every team. Some of the roles are shared, like for instance, the girl that is helping us with the copywriter, she works in 3 teams. But the designer is just dedicated to our team. So this is depend also in what is the mission of the team, but more or less in general, this is the composition.
Okay, Adriana, what about in Eventbrite?
Yeah, pretty similar situation of those explained. Not only in Eventbrite, but from my previous experience, sometimes we would have a designer split between teams if one of those teams have actually more backend work rather than the front end work. So more server side rather than consumer facing experiences. But the general rule is that they have their team, their mission, and they're going to accomplish what they're supposed to. I always say though that we have three families. Like our first family, it is the one that is going to be our team, and it's going to be the people who are going to work every day. And in Eventbrite's case, we have the second family, which is our product family here with the product designers in Spain. So we also want to make sure that we feel as a community that we are progressing as a design organization, that we are sharing our learnings with each other. And there is another family that is the whole product organization of Eventbrite that is mostly based in US. So you kind of need to also align a lot with them. So because we are separated in different locations, you kind of also want to have your space in this third family as well to get to know them. But the focus is always the squad. The squad go first, and second and third family go right after. And for design specifically, it's very, very important that whatever they are proposing, even as an ideas, are very aligned with each other, because otherwise we can end up with very different solutions across pages or experiences within our website. So we need to foster collaboration a lot at the very early stages of the creative process. That's why this third and second family are so important.
Okay, so lots of role implied, right? Involved in building a great project and driving something forward. So thank you for sharing all of those required, how do you mention, like processes in order for this to work. I don't know if someone has like from the attendees, if someone has a specific, like there were a lot of roles and processes mentioned in this conversation. So if you have a specific question about a certain role that we want to explain, or like maybe using an acronym that wasn't clear, just please put it in the question, and we'll make sure to clarify so things are clear and you can get the full information. Okay. Awesome. We have a question from the Q&A, which I would like to ask your input on, which I think it's interesting. So the question is like, what is your experience finding work abroad from abroad, basically away from your home country? Like, how do you find that? What's the process, and how did you deal with it if you are in this situation? Whoever wants to go first.
I can reply that. I actually came from Brazil without being a European citizen. So I also needed to search for a company that would like to sponsor me for my visa and etc. So I can tell you a little bit about the process and the experience that I have. First of all, I feel like you need to look at what are the places that you would like to go for, and how easy it is for you to get there as well. Because there is some countries, though there is some, like US is much harder to get a job as an immigrant rather than, for instance, in Europe sometimes, according to the country you're in Europe. So having a sense of like, where are the easiest paths for you and what are the best companies that you want to work in there. Second thing is really, really, really get prepared and make sure that you are able to communicate at least in English. Like here in Eventbrite Spain, like, speaking Spanish is not even necessary. Like you can talk in English, but that's the minimum request that we ask about like our candidates. So you really make sure that you have a good level of proficiency in English. You have to be native. You don't have to be native. Lots of your English will get better as you work on a daily basis, but you have to be able to communicate and express yourself properly. Also, I would say looking at doing some research in benchmarking about like what are the other in case of design, for instance, what are the portfolios of other great designers out there? Like what do they show in their portfolio? In general, we're looking, I would be looking for having a presentation that shows my design process, that show a challenge, a very important project that I work with, or if it's not an important project, the learnings I got for any exercise I did, especially if you're starting your career. Like most important part will be like how you approach and what did you learn. So you can also approach a presentation with that in mind. And then, yeah, I would say if you kind of check those three boxes and especially like you sell well and you have your storytelling really well, I think you could do it. And for people starting in the tech career, like lots of companies around the world, they also offer internee positions. They also offer trainee positions. I I know, for instance, Booking.com offers trainee positions for people all around the world on design and product. So that might be a company people could be looking for. Even we also offer at local level. It's not, it's still an international level, but those are all possibilities as well. If you're starting, you don't have like a strong case in your portfolio, you can add your learnings from the whatever you have so far, but then also like looking at maybe early stage positions, and you can grow faster from there.
Okay. Andrea, Chitra, do you have any inputs on this, like from your experience or like from what you've seen in and working with people around you?
Yeah, so from my experience, so I came to Spain, yes, because my mother and my grandmother are from here. So I have I was lucky that I have the passport, the Spanish passport. So one thing that I recommended you connected to what Adriana says, like check, because I was like between, okay, which city in Spain, no? Because, okay, I want to go to Spain because I speak Spanish, so it will be easier for me, but check, no, because I have friends that they went to, I don't know, Germany, coming from Colombia, and they don't like it because of the weather, you know, because it's so cold. So it's like, also keep this in mind, no? Maybe, okay, you are going to be some challenge there is about that, so like maybe the culture or something, so you need to check it. Also, I totally agree with Adriana about the English, so please, this is something that is really key for me, is like you don't need to be like perfect. Well, you are like, listen to me, it's like, no, I am not native, but I think the thing that opened more door for me is that I speak English. So it's like that you can communicate, that you can have interviews in English. So yeah, please. And if you can use Preply to use English, so we'll be super happy to help you. So yeah, and another thing that I was doing when I was like coming here, well, looking for coming to Spain to have a job here, and also like when I want to change roles, is to check the offers. No, it's like Adriana was saying, like to check what other people are sharing, but also check the offers. It's like, okay, if tomorrow I want to be an engineering manager, okay, I check the offers and see what they are asking for. Now, this is, in my case, was the reason why I decided to study a master in agile methodologies, because this was like some years ago, and this was becoming like trending, these agile things, and I was like, okay, I want to learn more about that. I see that this is becoming more a requirement in the offers. So yeah, this is also the suggestion. If you want to be a front end in a specific company, check what they are asking for with the frameworks or the languages that they are asking, and then try to learn by yourself. Take some online courses or read books or something. There are a lot of information, free information, but also there are a lot of resources that you can pay, and it's not really expensive, and then for sure you will get the job.
Yeah. May I add one side comment here? Don't give up.
Go.
Because it is like you're gonna face lots of doors that will be close to you, but you shouldn't give up because of that. Like when I started to do this change, I reached several companies, and several of them never actually replied me, or I didn't pass through the whole processes. But you cannot give up. Like you get learning from each interview that you do, you reflect on what you're not doing well, and then you make it better in the next one. So don't feel frustrated if it takes like a little bit of effort or time, but it is a process to get.
Yeah, can I add also one thing that I think is really important, also the attitude that you have. No, it's like when I was hiring some months ago in my previous company, and then because in your role you want someone like, okay, I want the new developer to know about this and this and this, but maybe you don't find like the perfect person that knows about everything that you want. But you are willing to hire someone that has a really attitude that is, okay, no, if I don't know this, I will try, and then no, but I tried this and I am like learning about this. So I think it's about attitude also. Like you need to have this attitude, and what Adriana says, like, okay, if one company say no, don't worry, try again, or even send a message and say, okay, give me feedback. I was doing this like in my processes, like, okay, you say no, but please tell me why not, what you don't like from my profile. I am missing something, I need to learn something else, I need to improve how I communicate. So this will help me to try more. So I think this is learning attitude, I would say, that I really value in the people. So yeah.
Okay. Chitra, I just want to give you the chance to say if you have anything to add in regards to this.
Yeah, I just had a couple of things to add. I think from my experience, I mean, I was planning to come to UK, right? And the way I got into, so this is also one approach. So I was hired by a consultancy company. By consultancy, I mean they consult businesses in digital transformation. So big banks, pharmaceutical companies, etc. would be their clients. So they would help them set up their own in-house IT teams, and then we would set them up and they would go. So I was hired by such consultancy company in India, and I was sent to UK to work with a particular bank to help them with setting up their mobile team. And the bank liked me a lot, and they also had a visa program. Not many companies in UK will have this, because only some very big multinational corporations will sponsor visas, because it's lots of hassle, lots of money for them, lots and lots to get somebody to get to UK. They have to prove that they don't have some skills locally, which they don't, but still you have to prove. So then they liked me, and then they kept me. So they gave me this offer, and still there was this 1 year cooling period. And so somebody's asking which company I work for. It is a Tata consultancy company. They're a big multinational corporation conglomerate. It's called Salt to Cars or some conglomerate. They have they have their footprint in every consultancy. So I was hired by this company, sent to UK. The bank liked me, and they made me an offer. So this is also one way to come, that if you have some local consultancy. Another thing is that as a new entrant, it is going to be difficult. So develop some experience and, make a very rocking profile, contribute to some open source projects, and which are tough and are well known, that so people know that you can navigate around complex code. So I have seen some people do this, and some managers really desperate to hire such developers, and they will push their HR to do what they can to get such developers onto the team. So this is also another thing. And third thing is freelancing work, that sometimes it's all about, you get better money just because the economies are different. So there are some websites where you can find some freelancing work. So for instance, for India, if we are getting paid in dollars from America, that will obviously be lots of money. So you can find some freelancing work. It will help you develop some experience while you find a proper job. So it's not as stable, it's more hard work. You don't know where your next paycheck is coming from, but it's somewhere to start. So that is also another thing I wanted to suggest. And you're getting better money than what you are getting in local economy.
Thank you for sharing all of this internal kind of tricks and tips to keep in mind. I think they're all important when you're looking towards a country or a culture where you're not familiar with, right? So I think it's research is important and everything that you mentioned. So thank you for sharing all of that. Okay, so we have one more question from the audience, which I'd like to address to you, because I think it's also an interesting one. And so the question is when hiring a new developer, with the fact that they learn to code from a bootcamp program, be a negative strike against them? More so, should they avoid using that, like mentioning the fact they're coming from a bootcamp? What is your, I mean, I have my own answer in this, but I'm going to give you the space to answer first. So Adriana, maybe you want to go first?
I can say that we actually just hired a few weeks ago a person at Eventbrite that came from a bootcamp, that came from a Codop bootcamp. So we have those opportunities, and the companies that are having, depending on the seniority of the role you're looking for. I would assume that by participating in a bootcamp, you're looking for an entry role. So for entry role, in general, they're they're much more flexible on actually like what are the requirements that they need to show. Boot camps is like actually university. You can go there and you cannot do anything, and you cannot like learn anything at all, or you can go there, extract the most of it, and practice. Because if you don't do that, then it's not going to worth it for you. So I would say that as a company, if at least also like from the design or product management side, when we're looking at candidates that comes from backgrounds like bootcamps, we're looking also more on their way of processing, the way of thinking, what they are continually doing on their side projects on the day-to-day, how they are practicing everything that they actually learned in there. And the opposite situation could be like, we look at someone at the best university in class in Spain, and they actually didn't actually work on anything else. So I feel it's much more a matter of practicing everything that you learn in the bootcamp, and that will get you the background to apply and to have a solid case to join a company.
Okay, Andrea, what is your opinion about this, coming from a bootcamp and starting as a developer?
So yeah, I think that the industry changed, like in my opinion, like when I came here to Spain, I saw that in the requirements was like a university degree, or this was a requirement. And now I think they are removing this. Actually, we are not asking as a requirement that you have to have a university degree. And makes totally sense, because as Adriana said, it's like that you go to university doesn't give you like, okay, this is sure that this person is good, or so now it's like I was working with one of the best developers that I was working on. He never go to the university bootcamp, nothing. He always all that he knows, he was learning by himself. No, it's like, okay, now I want to learn about this technology and this. So it's like, why I am going to discard this guy that is really good, and because he doesn't have a formal education. So yeah, I think that what Adriano says, like when we are doing interviews, at least from my experience, is like we are looking more for what you know, how you think, how you manage a problem, how you think, how you approach things, the attitude that you have, more than, okay, which what are your certifications, or what are the degrees that you have. It's more like, okay, what you are. That's it.
Awesome. Chitra, what are your points on this question?
Yeah, unfortunately, there are some traditional old companies who would say that university degree is compulsory, but it is their loss if they're not taking boot campus. Because you study a lot in university, but then you go to industry and you realize that the skills needed are completely different, and you learn a lot on the job. Technologies, as I said, constantly evolving. So I would say not to get disheartened, more and more companies are realizing that you don't need university degree. As Andrea said, they removed it, right? So yeah, the people are realizing that it's not needed. The only thing is that you need to prove somehow that you know stuff. So there will be, there will be an interview process which is very objective. Same questions are asked to same set of people. And the people who answer them best are basically hired. So just try to learn, know more stuff. For instance, if you're trying to be app developer, develop some apps, make a to-do list or weather app in your free time, and showcase it. And that's basically what employers need to know, is that you can do your job. So if you can prove it some other way, that's completely cool. And I had a tech lead who never been to university, and I think he was one of the best developers that I have worked with. I learned a lot from him. So it really does not matter. So yeah, I would say it's completely fine.
Awesome. Thank you all for sharing. Just to add my 2 cents to this question. So a couple of things. First of all, like I'm coming from a very like straightforward background in engineering. So I actually have a bachelor degree in computer science, and I've been working software engineering for a lot of years, and currently I'm doing the role of career coach to actually support people that don't have a background in engineering and going through a bootcamp to get jobs in tech, right? And this is happening every day. People are coming to and companies are coming to Codop to ask for those people, right? To interview them, to have a conversation, and to hire them, as you saw, as Adriana mentioned, right? Like they just got off one of our students. So I think what I'm seeing and what I really believe in is that, like, having that background, I don't think you need it in order to get into tech. And I think it's just a matter of like learning and being open to feel uncomfortable. And I think like companies out there, they should appreciate that. And diversity is becoming a big thing in regards to all the reasons that we mentioned before, like perspective and what everyone brings to the table, right? And I think it's just the best time, honestly, to go in tech through a bootcamp, in my perspective. Like I see like the number of requests we're getting for people to join our bootcamps, but also for companies asking for our help to understand how can they support them, and basically making the process to make sure it's fair for everyone, right? So definitely this should not feel like a problem. And if there you find a company that doesn't appreciate that, in my opinion, I think it's just not the place to be. I mean, whatever you're going to go through, even if it's self-learning or bootcamp, it's your experience, it's your work, right? And as long as you make the best of it, as Adriana mentioned, like just, you know, like at the end of the day, it's what you do with the time. It's as simple as that. So everything that you mentioned, it makes total sense. I just wanted to share my opinion because I think it's important for you to know that, like, it doesn't matter, right? Like it's the effort you're putting into learning. It doesn't matter where they're coming from, and you should mention that and stay up for what you've been doing. So, and hang in there, because we know it's tough. Okay, so that being said, let me check if we have any more question. Okay, so I have one more question. I know we're getting almost to the end, but I have a question for you all, like a closing one. And it's like, now you mentioned like you already have experience, right? You've been in this role and in tech for some time now. And you've seen like, and you've grown through different roles, even like Chitra was mentioning, like she played different roles in her experience. And I think like what I would like to hear from you is, what advice are you giving like to people that are going into tech in regards to what roles to consider? Like based on what you see the demand being in currently in the tech industry, but also based on like what it's easier, like in regards to skills and what it's easier to learn to basically get in the industry. Because I think once you're there, like it's easier to evolve and kind of move forward. So I would love to hear your inputs in regards to the tech roles and what they should consider. Andrea, maybe you can go first this time.
Okay. So yeah, I think what is easy or hard for you is more like what you want or what you like, because maybe it's like I can force someone to say, okay, you really need to learn how to code, because it's like there are a lot of offers, there are like a big market there. But if there is something that you don't like, so don't try. I mean, don't become a developer just because it's a good salary or this. By I mean, you are going to spend hours doing this job, so you need to like it. So yeah, I think it's more like you need to do like think what you like, how you imagine is going to be your day-to-day. Okay, I like to be in like some applications that someone can use, or I'm more maybe analyst, so maybe it's another role, or I would like to play with data. So it could be a data analyst, or I am more like, okay, I want to improve a product. So I think that you need to more like to think, of course, there are things in my job I mostly like, but there are things that I don't like, of course. But this is a small part of things that is like, it's not that I don't like, it's more like maybe it's more boring for me or something. But at the end of the day, I am happy with the things I am doing. So I think it's more like you need to check and see, okay, what I like, and it's going to be easier for you to learn. This is maybe my advice here.
You're on mute, Marie.
I'm muted. Thank you very much. So I was saying, like, Chitra, what is your input? What is your advice in regards to what tech roles people should follow?
Yeah, it really depends again what you're interested in. yeah, if you like lots of data and so on, maybe go for data analyst role. And if you're lots of into colors and you know, user experience, then you can go to that. And generally you wouldn't be able to get into leadership or management roles without some experience in other things. You can even be, for instance, Andrea has been a QA and she's been an engineering manager. I went to that route on iOS developer roles. So I think to reach leadership and management roles, you sort of start somewhere else generally. So yeah, I would say it's really up to you. I would say manual QA has the least entrance barrier, because yeah, and then gradually you learn automation QA on the job. You learn to automate the QA process, where you test everything is working fine on the app. Gradually you get into development if you're interested, and so on. So yeah, you can really keep moving. Yeah, it's up to you. You can take an Adobe Illustrator course on somewhere and learn into designing or whatever. So yeah, it depends. There are even Scrum Masters who are on demand sometimes. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Adriana, what is your suggestion?
Just continue what they both said. I would say map nowadays your skills, like what you're really good at, like your soft skills, or either those are hard skills. Map also the skills that you think you would like to learn as well, because as you progress at any job, you're going to learn, and maybe you're not so very analytical, but you wanted to get into that. So as you grow in a role, you're going to become more analytical if you focus on that in your growing experience as well. And map the things that you really don't like at all. I feel that can give you like a first perspective. Every role always has things that we don't like at all, but I feel that this can have like give you like the first perspective about like either is programming or product or design, what I should go to, and then just go for it. I mean, it's not like you are sentenced for your life because you're choosing one. And I feel that the bootcamps are actually a great thing for that, because you have a crisp of like what it is really in the industry to be working in there. And then can get a sense at the end of the course, like, okay, it's great, but that's not for me. I think but through this course, I found another role that I feel it can actually connect to my skills. So within the industry, you can transition a lot. I started actually as a front ender, and I ended up like transitioning completely to design. And now I'm completely transitioning to design management, which is completely different from designing every day as well. So you can move across the industry. And if you're not sure like where to start with, mapping your skills and seeing like visually looking at the things you like and the things you want to learn, those can give you like a sense of where to go to. And talk to some peers. I mean, talk to some people on LinkedIn, and that can give you, like, can provide you advice. Talk to me if you wanted to as well. Like, just reach people and ask for advice as well.
Okay. So because we have a little bit more time, I'm just gonna squeeze one more bonus question in, because I see it just came up and I think it's really interesting. In regards to imposter syndrome and dealing with the feeling that you're like not competent enough at some point. So I'd be curious to hear if you have a story in regards to this topic, and how have you dealt with it, and or if you're dealing with it currently. Whoever of you wants to start, like, just please unmute yourself and go. Like, I don't want to put the pressure on any of you.
I can go. It happens to me all the time in every job that I ever enter in my life. I mean, it will happen. And I feel that this is something that happens within the industry, right? You will always like compare yourself to the rest of your peers, and then you're gonna be looking at, okay, it's actually, am I more incompetent than them? And then as I feel like as you get more experience, that feeling will not go away when you change jobs. Like, to be honest, like the first month you're going to feel like that, but actually it's just like your inner saboteur kind of trying to put you on a bad place. Like, my advice is don't compare yourself to others. Like, if you're hired by a company, it is because you have the right skills to be there, and they don't have to be the same as your peers. We want people with different skill sets. So if you feel that this is kind of becoming that voice across your head, like, shut it up. No, don't compare yourself to others. Give you time, because the first month in a company, it's all about onboarding and learning, and your manager will not be expecting you also to deliver the high quality work if you don't have enough information yet. So the first month, just chill and learn as much as you can, but don't put yourself in that situation. And if you feel that, like, just try to say to your voice, like, give me 1 more month and let's see how I feel from that.
Andrea, Chitra, what are your suggestions on this or tips on dealing with it?
So yeah, I have, as Adriana, is happening to me all the time. Actually, today, no, it's like, why am Andrea here, like talking about engineering manager when I am not the top engineering manager, no? So yeah, it happened to me all the time. So yeah, my suggestion is more like, I am trying to do my best. I am trying to learn as much as I can, and then I ask for feedback. So it's like what Adriana said, don't compare yourself, because it's like in Preply, I have really good engineering managers, like with a lot of experience. So I am super happy that I am working with them, because I am learning a lot of, from them, from my manager, that is the CTO, and yeah, so this is really amazing. But if I compare to them, it's like, okay, they have more years of experience, they are better on this, they are, so don't compare. It's like one advice that actually one of the engineering managers is like, Andrea, be yourself, and it's like you are the version that you want to be of the engineering manager in Preply. So it's like, so I am trying to do the things that I think I should do, and ask for feedback. It's like, okay, do you think I am doing this correctly or not? I should improve on this, or maybe I need to read more about this or improve on this. So it's try to be yourself, be confident, and that's it. And don't compare with others. You are unique and you are good. So that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can share a bit of my experience. I think sometimes this happens that I work very hard for an interview process where I have to develop an app to show how capable I am, and I work really hard on it, and I get into a company where the quality of engineering and engineers is top class, and then I do feel this, that oh my gosh, I'm among these people, but they seem to be doing so much better job. But then I learn and I get better. So it has happened a few times, and I know it is a part of process. I aim for companies where the quality of engineering is better than what I have worked with. And I get into it. Initially it feels that maybe I don't belong here, but then I learn and I get better. So it has happened a few times, and by now I think I know that I can do it. So I think you get better at handling this imposter syndrome over time, but I think it's quite natural that you feel a bit overwhelmed, and there is a steep learning curve when you challenge yourself and so on. So I think, yeah, now I know what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are after 10 to 11 years in the industry, and I think I got better at handling this. I know how much time I want to put in work and how much time I want to spend for my life. So there are some limitations that come with this as well, to strike a work-life balance, and I'm comfortable in my skin when I'm doing this. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you all for sharing. I think this is a topic that often comes up in events and in conversation that I have with people, like struggling with confidence and like feeling that they're not good enough. And I think it's something that we all have to work on. So thank you very much for your insights and your tips on this question, but also on all the others. I think we went through all the questions that were open. So we were very efficient from that perspective. And we're almost there to being done with the event. So I just want to say thank you again to the panelists and to the people attending, asking questions and participating. I hope we answered all your questions. You have a little bit more understanding on what is the role that you might want to start like looking into in regards to tech, and like a little bit more understanding in what is the work required and the skills and how to grow. And I hope you got a little bit, at least the idea that it's a learning process and it can be learned as anything else. And if you're willing to put in the work, and it's gonna happen, right? So yes, thank you very much everyone for participating and for sticking so long with us. It's been an hour and a half. I know we are all like almost exhausted at the end of the day. Just one thing to mention, like we're going to be organizing, we as Codop, we're going to be organizing more events in the future. So please just follow us, and you'll be able to get a notification in regards to when they are happening. And also, if you want to get in touch with us or our panelists, if you have more questions or more curiosities, I'm sure they'll be more than happy to answer questions. So use any way you find, like in regards to LinkedIn or our website. And our website also, I think Ruth is she's gonna post a message in regards to how you can easily just book a session and have a chat with someone from Codop. And yeah, I think that's it. Again, thank you very much for joining. I hope it was helpful for everyone. I definitely learned some things in regards to time management, and this is what I love about these events, because I always feel like I'm also learning. So again, have a great evening, everyone, and take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting the session. Thanks, Codop, and for the attendees as well. See ya.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks a lot.